and live with Christian Finnegan. It's time for Finnegan Fridays. Yeah.
I love that song.
Oh, it's so good. It's really catchy, and I'm really happy that you're here. Always happy that you're here. We're going to talk about all the things that matter from this past week and more is how I branded it. What do you think?
You know what? I like imagining that I'm on the other side of your bookcase right now.
That's they do that on a lot of shows though, right? Two people in the same studio, and they make that. Like, how many times have you done that where you have to look into the camera to talk to the person right next to you?
Yeah.
So
but it's because I see that the spines of your books and then the pages of mine. So I'm huddled in the corner. Yeah, that's the way it is. And MSNBC, whenever they're like they throw the next show, it's like I'm throwing right there. But
the other thing, speaking of technical, I wanted to ask you this. I've just realized that lighting, the home lighting that we use, we have all these ring lights for these types of broadcasts and so on. It's not great for me. Like the lighting of my computer is better because if you have a nice bright light on your face with this skin tone, you get all the shades of pink and all the skin as well. He's sneezing, and
I know.
I think I've downgraded it, like just the light of my monitor as opposed to that big light on my giant moonscape of a skull. Nobody needs it. Nobody needs it.
I think you look totally normal. I look green. Or blue tinted. Part of it's because I'm in front of these big windows and they're sunlight with there's trees like leaves. And so I am literally getting a green reflection bouncing off the sweat of my face as I sit in this non-air conditioned little home.
One more question for my presentation. I've been taken lately to going on these types of my broadcasts and other people's. I've been lately taken to wearing a ball cap. Like, I just think I look good in one. I'm not saying I look horrible like this, whatever. It's all, but I think
you're not saying that. I've heard other people.
I mean, listen, every time I go on TV, I get attacked for, usually they,
really?
Oh my God. Usually they go for the veneers, which is hilarious. Some guy told me to tuck my teeth in, which I real hard at. And then he called me a cuck. But that's all fine and well. No, is it too contrived for me to wear a ball cap? Like, it's such a choice.
Maybe you should wear a Scully like Tim Pool. You could just wear one of those winter caps.
No way.
No?
Pull that off. That's ridiculous.
No.
Anything, even
no, I think I agree that you look good in one of those like baseball caps that's from like a state park somewhere, like the ones that where the rim is really bent tight, you know what I mean?
Those?
Not like an actual baseball cap, but like, yeah, no, I've seen you wearing hats. I don't know. I can't, if you would ask me, do you have opinions on what hat shape is proper for Pete? I would not have thought I have opinions, but apparently I do.
I've lately taken to have the dad hat. The cool white dad hat is now a pretty flat brim. Yeah.
Oh yeah, is it?
I'm doing that. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of compliments there. Well, listen, I want to ask you about what's going on with you because you have some personal news. We'll get into the news that affects all of us, but
literally personal in the sense that no one else will care about it except for me. But
but I think there might be some funny things about it, or just some interesting things about it that people could relate to. You've lived in Astoria, Queens for how long, and you're moving now to Jackson Heights. And do you feel like you're moving up in society? It's a higher income area in Queens. It seems like you and Cambria are leaving the riffraff, the diversity that is Astoria, that is so rich in so many things and culture and everything behind. Is that what I'm saying?
Well, yes and no. It's funny. It is actually, Jackson Heights is apparently the most diverse zip code in the United States of America.
Wow.
So yeah, so even more so than Astoria. Astoria is a bit younger, generally speaking, just because it's close to the city, and like a lot of people, and it's sort of the way it was for me as well. It's like for people who don't want to move to Brooklyn, but it's like they're still clinging to the notion of being in Manhattan. Astoria is about like, okay, I'll move to Queens, but like literally just across the river. Jackson Heights is a little deeper into Queens. It's a very, very diverse neighborhood, but the building we're moving into is definitely like feels like adults and I'm like a child. Sort of, it's a co-op, and so everybody there feels like they're real adults. So I'm gonna have to up my game.
I love your wife's honest, vulnerable post. I got to talk to her about it, not you, because it's really interesting. She gave us like a tour, and she talked about how she grew up in a shack, or she spent time living in a shack. Like, she's lived in the worst place you can live for a sustained period of time, and now she just talked about how she has this kind of imposter syndrome, doesn't deserve this nice apartment. And it made my heart bleed for her. Also made me think, imagine if she had an even nicer apartment, or an even nicer one than that. And why don't all people kind of have that perspective and a certain sense of guilt if they have 5,000 square feet to themselves, etc., and so on?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I assume it's just that people, they are comparing themselves to what they thought they were going to get, or who else is living in, they're the people they went to high school and how they're doing. You know what I mean? I have to imagine that's the case. I always thought of myself as being like, not necessarily, I never thought of myself as like, I'm going to be richer than all the people I grew up with. I thought I'm going to be cooler than them. Like, I thought I'd have, I thought I'd have better taste in music. I thought I would go do more interesting things. I thought I would know where better bars are. And probably that used to be the case, but I never thought of myself like, oh man, these people, I'm gonna financially leave them in the dust. Like, that was never. I probably, to my detriment, it probably would have helped me if I did have a little more of that in me. But no, I am super thrilled about this situation. It's a little daunting, obviously, because we have to have like, somebody's gonna have to like come and fix the kitchen, like in the bathroom, and so there's. I saw the movie The Money Pit. We've all seen or heard contractor nightmares, especially in the city. And so that's
you were renting in the story. You now own this co-op, and
well, we haven't signed yet, but we will once the closing happens.
You're saying
we've been approved. Yeah,
you're saying that you now have to be responsible for all these things. I'm honestly offering my help, at least my tools.
Thank you.
And anything little, like, don't ever call somebody where your pal Pete could come over with his tools.
Well, I mean,
you know what I mean? How you'd be stealing an opportunity for me to feel more kind of, helpful.
Well, people are always telling me about Pete Dominic's little tool, so that works out.
Huh? Who's been saying, like, what people? And
just
people have seen the tools.
Oddly, my wife. That's weird.
Well, she wants her sink fixed. She knows where her bread is buttered. All right. Well, congratulations. I don't know what any of that means,
it's great. It's just, it's going to be a lot of, I actually have to care about what my neighbors think now. I've never had that.
Oh, what do you mean that? Why does that matter? Oh, because
it's a co-op. And so we've now met the co-op board, and it's very much like, oh, you guys are moving into 2D. Who's in 1D? Oh, that's Jim. Like, everybody knows each other in the building. And I have always had a post-collegiate attitude towards New York City of like, a year from now, either I'm going to have moved or you're going to have moved. So we don't really have to be friends. Like, we can just like give each other the tight little nod.
Yeah, I like this. Yeah. You have to have a different type. I get it now. A different type of relationship with your neighbors than you did before, because of the kind of the permanence and the mutual interest that you have in keeping this place, because you all own keeping this place, nice.
Well, yeah. And the way co-ops work is like, we don't technically own we're not going to technically own the apartment. We're going to own shares in the building, which is whatever. It's
the same thing. The same point of, you have interest in the building's well-being, and now so does your neighbor. And have any of them?
I'm looking forward to becoming the kind of person I absolutely would have hated. Like,
was that joke you used to do when you introduced yourself as to your new neighbors, and you went up and said, "Hi, I'm Christian," and they're like,
"Oh yeah, that's a little much." Yeah, I learned my lesson. I do, when I introduce myself, try my best to say, hello, my name is Christian, because when you say, hi, I'm Christian, people recoil. Or they don't recoil, but they're just kind of like, why are you telling me this? We just met. We're just putting out the recycling at the same time. Why are you telling me about your religious
beliefs? Hi, I'm Baha'i.
People wouldn't even know what that was.
I know. I'm of the Baha'i.
Baha'i.
Okay, well, congratulations.
Hi.
Very
Thank
excited
you.
to be, and you'll learn like the little things. It's so great. Like as a homeowner now, even when I first bought this house, it wasn't available, but now YouTube will tell you how to do everything and save you so much money. Like you have an error
Yeah.
code D5 on your washing machine, and instead of calling a guy and paying him $200, you can just be like, oh, I just need to do this simple thing. And so YouTube is your friend, homeowner.
Hmm. Hmm.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, it definitely. I'm looking forward to feeling challenged, and when I say challenged, I mean like mentally challenged. I'm looking forward to just seeing my own lack of manhood reflected back upon myself.
exactly. Yeah. But
You
you get
know,
an opportunity. I went through that, and you get an opportunity to prove your quote manhood. And no one will give you credit. Like whenever I do, like fix the garbage disposal recently, and I was expecting some kind of medal ceremony, but I got like made fun of, or it's expected. Yeah, you're supposed to do that. What?
yeah, no, I just feel like my life is too much of an unadulterated winning streak. I feel like things are too good for
I see
me,
that. I
and
see
I
that.
succeed so constantly that the humbling nature of home repairs I expect to bring me down to earth, to you, the plebs, so that we can,
I can see
be
that,
on the
and I
same
hope
level.
that doesn't happen because you are on this streak. But now I don't
Yeah.
need to make fun of you. But in the chat, it is fun to have the live chat with folks. One listener, Carrie, who I think you may know, Carrie, Christian, he's a big fan of
Mhm.
yours. He said, "Why does Christian look like a little boy today?"
It's because I don't have shit in my hair. That's
And
that's literally that's
someone else
literally
answered
all it
later,
is.
said, "It's the hair, Carrie.
It's
It's
yeah,
flat,
I don't.
usually
It's
poofy."
flat. It is flat.
Mm.
I'm sorry. I'm up in
Oh,
the woods, and I
okay.
keep forgetting that we are going live on these now, and so I'm used to just being able to hide. In fact, I was worried that the co-op board was going to watch these videos that we do, and they'd be like,
Understandably,
"Oh, yeah."
understandably. I've got something on you. I'm going to give it to the co-op board. We'll see what happens. Okay, let's see what happens. Let me ask you first. This week, one of the big things, and I really want to talk to you about it, is South Park and what they released yesterday. What do you think of South Park and those two guys? I really wanted to know your specific opinion on their comedy, them, everything they've done, and then of course what this is. This video of this new episode with Trump and the tiny penis and fucking Satan. It's amazing, but I want to know your thoughts on the whole South Park project and all of it, comedy wise.
It's funny, we've been around this point that it's like I feel like everybody's been on every side of South Park at this point.
Oh, is that right?
You know,
I really honestly don't have a strong opinion. I haven't followed it. I'm always pretty impressed with their stuff. But I don't necessarily watch it that much. I don't know if
right? But that's kind of. I mean, what I mean is that there was probably a certain point where you felt like South Park was on your side. There's probably a feeling where you felt South Park was punching down. There's
I
probably a time where you felt South
got it.
Park was righteous. There's probably a time you thought South Park was cowardly and kind of just taking the easy shots at the easy targets, all of which is true. I mean, I think that these two dudes, they are guys in the truest sense, not men, not boys, like guys,
Hmm.
in the sense that like there is and I'm not saying that women don't have this, I'm just saying
Matt Stone,
men.
Trey Parker.
Yeah, Matt Stone, Trey Parker.
Yep.
There is kind of I'm a naughty little I'm a naughty little boy aspect to like adult men, of kind of like, can you believe I just did that? Do you know what I mean? There's a quality that men seem to get something out of. And I'm not separate from this. There's a feeling of kind of like, I'm going to say the bad word, and I'm going to say the thing that nobody's supposed to say, and I'm going to be delighted and get and really enjoy it when it upsets you, and that is a sword that cuts both ways. I mean, I give them credit after all these years for sort of following that notion and having a pretty good calibration for. I just said beating up on the little guy, but they have a pretty good calibration for what the average person is annoyed by.
The
Do you know what I
bandwidth
mean?
of tolerance that someone has around things that annoy, things that make them even uncomfortable, or angry, the average tolerance or temperament of people in their lane that would consider watching them, I guess.
Yeah, I just think that they always have a good finger on the pulse of like what are people rolling their eyes at in their
Oh,
private life. Do you
interesting.
know what I mean? That it's
I
like
don't. And if
what
I
are the
do,
things
I don't watch enough.
yeah, what are the things that are making people be like, "Oh, give me a fucking break," and they go after those targets. And so sometimes that can be a pronouns thing, which a lot of people find annoying. And I'm not gonna lie, I have found it annoying in my life at various times. But my where I always land with that is like, who cares if I find it annoying? People have to live their lives. If you tell me to call you a certain thing, I'm going to call you a certain thing, regardless of whether it annoys me. Like life can proceed as planned with me being annoyed. It's not a big deal. Some
But you
people
wouldn't
feel
be
like,
you would do a joke about it in your stand-up act about how those things are used. And that's one example you're giving, that they would target the pronouns or other annoying things about society and culture that we do, trends or political correct behaviors or following the
yeah,
leader.
sacred cows and sort of shibboleths and kind of this notion of you know kind of there. I'm sure in their minds there's sort of an emperor's new clothes aspect to it, that it's like we pick the targets that everybody knows A but everyone's saying B is I think what their kind of target.
Well, I think that's all those insights are really exactly what I wanted to hear from you from a broader context. Now, when we drill into what they did yesterday and targeting Trump, my understanding is that they've actually not really gone so on the nose with Trump. They've done things that might be representative or tangential to him a lot, but in this case, they use his face. They made an AI
Yeah.
cartoon. It's directly about him. It's Donald Trump. It's Satan. It's his tiny penis. Like, they went for it. Scorched Earth episode #1. What did you think of what they did? What does it matter? What are the consequences? I really want to get your reaction to it.
Well, I think that there's two targets, and I actually don't think that Trump, ironically enough, or oddly enough, given that literally he has a talking micro penis in the show, um, the real target, in my opinion, is Paramount. That they are daring Paramount to like cancel them or go after them, because apparently they just signed like a big contract of some sort. Um,
$1
I
billion
think
for like 50 episodes or or something like that, some ridiculous amount of money. And then as soon as they sign the deal, they then go attack Trump. And it says, now I'm reading Variety headline: South Park creators Trey Parker, Matt Stone battled Comedy Central over showing Trump's genitals, refused to blur his penis. All right, so given that new detail, go ahead.
Oh yeah, but I just think that I don't think this episode would have come out 2 months ago, at least in the form that it's in right now, because I think they saw the Colbert situation and the Paramount bribe payoff as just like, oh, like the biggest, juiciest target in the world. And rather than just, I think that they're trying to goad Paramount into making kind of a Streisand effect thing where like they're gonna get fired, or there's gonna be an uproar, and they'll be able to kind of delight in the furor it causes. I mean, I honestly, and I don't know them personally, but like I always assume that when these controversies happen, whether they're people on the left being upset or people on the right being upset, I kind of just see them giggling like two dudes, like two like high school dudes in the back of the car driving around on a Saturday night, like getting high in the back seat and just giggling, which is a powerful feeling for a guy, to being like, everyone's upset and I'm having a great time.
So let me ask you about the larger question that I've been trying to answer, and I'm really interested in your answer to it more than what I've been saying in different interviews that I've been asked to give about the larger role for comedy right now. I mean, I know it's the most unoriginal question, but the way you look at things and answer things is always unique. And we are in a unique situation in America for the first time where the government is canceling programming, it would seem. The government is defunding networks that it historically funded, like PBS. The government is constantly threatening to get their message be the only one. It's fascism. We know what it is. We see what's happening. But in terms of Colbert and that cancellation, in terms of what these guys are doing with their first episode, in terms of what comedians all the way down the line or satirists are doing historically, why it matters, and specifically now what the role is. And do you think there's any way to stop it? Like, is there any way to shut down the ridicule that satire and comedians have always historically brought to?
Well, it's funny, you know, in the same way that COVID, this is a bit of a leap of logic, but in the same way that COVID sped along certain trends that were already happening in like business world in terms of remote working and mostly remote working from home and stuff like that. This Colbert situation and the Paramount, you know, and these ABC News, it's just speeding along these trend lines of people of TV ceasing to be a thing. I think. I think that the reason
television has been historically produced and platformed, I guess, through cable, through your actual television screen, is the way we know it. The late night monologue, it's all going away, and now it's all on our phone and whatever other screen, and it's clipped up.
I was watching The Daily Show. It was from a few days ago when Jon Stewart was basically talking about how like working in television period was working in a Blockbuster kiosk inside a I don't remember now. Yeah, something. Yeah, basically just like double obsolete at this point. But I just think that the difference is that this person, who is our president currently, watches TV. He watches TV. So in a way, that's kind of the only way to really get at him in terms of a language he understands. And I mean that in both a positive and a negative way. It's a reason why some right-wing blogger can publish 1,000 articles, and it's not going to mean as much to Trump as a 2-minute hit on Fox News, because he doesn't read. He watches news. He watches TV. And so I think South Park has an ability to make it a dent on, to draw blood in a way that some website or some viral feed doesn't, because Trump watches television. And I guarantee you he's watched South Park. He'll pretend that he hasn't, but I'm sure that he has seen episodes, because a lot of them probably reify the bullshit he says. But anyway, I just think that TV was already kind of on. All this is going to do is just force the next wave of creative people, the people who are in high school and college now.
Yeah.
Like, no one, can you imagine being in high school now and being like, I want to work in late night television? I guarantee you there's maybe 20 people in the entire country who are thinking that.
Well, I mean, use a different word than TV. So networks, maybe. And because I just want to get your hot take, because I obviously think about this a lot, because this is how I make my living now. If the networks that have hundreds of millions or billions of dollars deteriorate, go away, fragment, sell off as a result of the internet. So networks and the internet, can I say? And then I can talk about the ways that you make money doing this. So subscriptions through Substack or Patreon, and then YouTube and other things that give you royalties for your views. Isn't it possible that there's going to be 100 channels that make millions, and then thousands of channels that make thousands, and millions of channels that make hundreds? Like, and you're going to have your choice to watch almost anything that you want on any subject matter, and some of it will be well funded and well produced, or well enough. Like, you don't need these giant studios and all the expenses that go into producing an hour of news anymore. The control room, like, what? You don't need a control room. You don't need that $100,000 camera. You definitely don't need those lights. Look at this face. How would you talk about it differently in terms of TV networks and how it fragments, and the rapidity with which that might happen, especially with AI? I don't know if you want to include that. I still don't know how to use it very well for my work.
I don't know. The problem, I mean, everything has its benefits and its pluses and its minuses. And obviously, without having the sort of letting 1,000 flowers bloom sort of attitude about creativity. It has its upsides, obviously, that you get much more personal voices. There's not as much gatekeeping. There's just a constant sort of tidal wave of ideas floating around at any given time, as opposed to sort of everything being funneled through, like when we were growing up, the 3 networks. That's all true. But just talking about news specifically, a guy who has a Substack is not going to be able to have a London bureau. Is not going to have. Oh, well, that is true. The international, the Pete Dominic International Bureau, but
investigative reporters. They're not going to be resourced in a way that you can do shoe leather journalism or have a quick, someone on the spot in the London bureau if there's a terrorist attack or something, whatever it might be. I hear what you're saying. Go ahead. More about the expenses.
Like Tim Mack. Do you know the guy Tim Mack?
Name sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yeah. He. I don't remember what media organization he was working for originally, but he was stationed in Ukraine for the first year and a half of the war, and then he either got fired or decided to leave, and has kept his writing. He's still like
counteroffensive.news.
Yeah, okay, that must be where he's working for now. He was working for like a larger entity, but he's still in Ukraine, at least a lot, giving basically daily reports about what's going on the ground. Now that's great, but that's one guy, and he's doing this all himself. He's a one-man band. How much more thorough and how much more intrepid could his coverage be if he had actual like lawyers backing him up, or some sort of
editors and listeners and all of it. Yeah,
he wasn't spending half of his time trying to get people to read a Substack. I mean, that's to me the danger of it, is that it's like you have a bunch of people, and this is what I've said about social media as well as news. It's just like 10 million people dangling their keys saying, hey. That's
the worst image. I hate it. It's exactly what I do. I hate you. Oh God. Oh yeah. There's got to be about 10 more of those that you can come up with.
When I was in college, I was taking a poetry course, like you do, and I remember. It occurred to me at some point, I was like, oh, poetry, everyone's writing it, nobody's reading it. It's because writing a poem is very engaging. Reading other people's poetry,
a risk.
I've gotten stuff out of it, but I don't get a lot out of all of it. but anyway.
Well, just quickly on Colbert, what do you think happens with him and that crew? I mean,
this couldn't be working any better for him. He's completely liberated. It's not like he's 35 years old. I mean, how much longer was he going to do the show?
And it's
really
at its pace, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think that honestly, this could not be working out any better for him. He's going to get to keep all that money. He's got like 7 months to do like the Michael Jordan farewell tour.
Why don't they cancel him tonight? Why didn't they put him off?
Yeah, it's really stupid. I agree that it's like, if you're gonna do this, you're basically just be like, all right, we're gonna fire you in 7 months, and please don't make fun of us for those 7 months.
Well, yeah, I mean, like when I got told my last day at SiriusXM, and because it wasn't like anything for cause, it was like, we're getting rid of the channel and we don't want to pay anymore and all that. They're like, this is your last show. But if you want to record like a goodbye or something, they let me record something. But even then, even though we were cordial, it wasn't weird. I hadn't done anything. No one gets to go on live the next day. The manager walks out, asks you for your ball, in my case, and that's it. It's a wrap. And Don Lemon and Shep Smith, I mean, usually the network anchor or whoever it is doesn't get a last show necessarily if it wasn't their choice to leave, I guess, right? Because they don't want to burn it all down. It's understandable.
Exactly. It's that's the case when you're a bartender or you're a waiter. It's like, they tell you when you show up, because they don't want you robbing the place blind. It's like, hey, in 2 weeks you're fired.
Give me your passwords. Give me everything. Right? Yeah, exactly. We don't want you taking all of our shit, much less our intellectual property. All right.
Yeah, I think that they thought that they could kind of get away with some sort of plausible deniability by doing it this way. It's
Had
like,
they
oh,
met
it's
him?
purely
Had they
financial.
met the guy? Like
Yeah.
you knew. I said this. Like his psychology is pretty simple, Steve. I mean, I worked for him for 6 years, but I mean, I don't think you've had to do that. The guy is he's gonna come back way harder than however you hit him every time.
And
like,
especially because he's done everything. I mean, granted, I don't watch the show on a regular basis, but when I've seen it, it's like, yeah, it's a little, yeah, he goes after Trump and stuff like that, but the comedy is made for a late night audience. Like, it's definitely softer and less abrasive. It's like, but it's like, go watch some of those old Colbert Report clips. Go watch, like the dude can throw a punch when he wants to. And so I'll be interested to see what he does.
All right, last question is, I don't know if you want to talk about any of these, but celebrities die in 3, maybe 4 this week. Hulk Hogan, Ozzy Osbourne, Malcolm Jamal Warner, and Chuck Mangione. Do you want to say anything about any of them and what they meant to you in any way, or do you have?
Well, they were the best laser tag team I've ever worked with. Let me just say.
You played laser tag with that specific Ford?
Yes. Yeah, it's very awkward. They all died in a tragic laser tag incident. I don't know if that has not really made the news yet. Yeah, no, I'm the one who killed them. I had hollow point laser tag.
You went death and not just stun.
I used an actual laser. It was not cool.
I didn't know they all died. I thought Malcolm Jamal Warner tragically was drowned, and Ozzy was 76, and Ozzy, and then I'm not sure what happened.
I mean, if you want to believe what the government tells you, Pete.
Well, Hulk Hogan, I think, died of the jab. That is what killed him.
What a piece of shit.
You'll speak ill of someone who just died?
Yeah. I don't care. I mean, I won't speak ill necessarily of laughing at how people die, because to me, it's always just a reminder of my own mortality, like of all of our mortality. And so, I'm not going to change my opinion that I had about somebody when they were living just because they died. I'm not going to necessarily take glee. I reserve morbid glee for a very specific set of people, many of whom are public figures, and then a couple of personal people in my life. But beyond that, I won't make joy just out of the fact that he died. But I'm not going to pretend that, like, I mean, were you a wrestling dude growing up?
I was. Just unpack I think I had a fair reaction to it that you can add to make smarter and more interesting. But like, just to be clear, like, I grew up loving Hulk Hogan and wrestling. When he came out and ripped his shirt off and I'm a real American, it made me have all the feels as a little boy. I went to wrestling. Like, I saw them live. I saw him live. Later on, when I was on tour with Artie Lang, who is, of course, of the Howard Stern, and Hulk Hogan was part of that world. And we were in Florida near where Hogan lives. Hogan came to the show. We hung out with him that night. It was really nice to me. It was fun. It was cool. Nothing too, he came out on stage and we like picked up a folding chair and like pretend to hit him with it. It was fun. It was fine. And then later on, I found out he's a real piece of shit. He was super racist, did a lot of bad things. He wasn't in solidarity in terms of work. Like, he's a scab over a lot of bad things.
Yeah.
But my point, Christian, but he was nice to me. So, and I hate when people do that. I know he was nice to me, but that's not how I'm judging him in his death or of his character. And I think that it always annoys me when people like, he was nice to my kid, signed my kid's autograph, but give him that. I appreciate that. That's nice. But at the same time, what about these things that he was known for?
I have not been able, it's been years that I've been trying to find words for this, but I have this overarching theory about why there's a disconnect between people being nice in person and what their actions in the world are. And I don't know how better, in my mind, I have this binary that I think of as like interior goodness and exterior goodness. And what I mean by interior goodness is like, are you nice to the people around you? Will you help your friend move? Do you show up on time when you say you're going to be there? Are you a liar? Like stuff that is how you relate to the people face to face, like actual people in your real life. And when I think of exterior goodness, I think of like, how are you treating people that you'll never meet? How are you relating to the world that isn't in your day-to-day life, but nevertheless are real human beings who deserve dignity and, food and life and all these things. And I think that a lot of conservatives think that if they are good in an interior sense, that it doesn't matter what they do in an exterior
Yes.
sense.
Well, even if
And
you didn't want to use the word conservative because it might inflame some, and I certainly agree it's true. Some people think that the character is about how you treat people in person, one-on-one, versus finishing your point. Sorry.
yeah. Well, no, but I say, and maybe I don't mean to both sides this, but I could make the argument that people on the left tend to invert that slightly, where it's like, hey man, I volunteer, I go to the marches, I do all of these things. Therefore, it doesn't matter that I blew you off when I said I was going to meet you at 3:00, or it doesn't matter that I owe you that $50. I'm never going to pay it back. You know what I mean? That they almost use the
Yeah.
I'm such a moral person on a global
That's
scale
a great one.
that I
Yes.
can be a piece of shit, And I think that's why a lot of conservatives, they think we're the assholes, because on a face-to-face basis, I think a lot of times people on the left, that's where their challenges lie.
But
I think
when it comes to someone who's famous or influential, I will often judge them on, I try to have a nuanced, thoughtful reaction to people, especially when they die and they're, well-known people. But if they supported like ideas or perpetuated ideas or policies that did like bad things to large groups of people or the environment, or made their money in an unethical way where they put profit over people's lives, and like I don't have a lot of problem. That's how I judge them, is what I'm saying. And by the way, Carrie said in the chat again, Christian once said something like, I won't speak ill of the dying, but the dead can go fuck themselves, in reference to
yeah, that's very, yeah, I was very smart when I said that.
we get another laugh at it. It's great.
But yes, yes, people who are in the process of dying, I take no joy in that, just because I just feel like a black hooded figure over my shoulder.
Do you want to say anything about Ozzy or Chuck Mangione or Malcolm Jamal Warner?
Well, Ozzy, of course. I mean, Ozzy's Ozzy, and every couple, you have movies and TV shows and music that you like that your wife doesn't like, and vice versa. And then hopefully in a relationship, there's some sort of Venn diagram overlap. And with Cambry and I, it's like 80s metal. Like that's the stuff that we were both into. And you could argue that she is still not transitioned out of that phase. But so we were actually have you ever heard of the band Ghost?
I don't think so.
It's a Scandinavian band, and they wear crazy makeup and costumes, and all the songs are about Satan. But they're fun. It's kind of goofy. And they were playing Madison Square Garden. They're a very popular band. And we were seeing Ghost the night that Ozzy died. And so there was a nice tribute to Ozzy in the middle of the show. And we've been listening to Ozzy's Boneyard on Sirius XM for the past few days, as they've been playing all Black Sabbath and stuff like that. So I mean, Ozzy's Ozzy. I mean, he's a seminal figure. And Malcolm Jamal Warner, I'm sure he was a nice fella. He was a guy on a TV show.
Him. He was real nice. He's real. Yeah. He was. I interviewed him, and he was like, when I did that a couple of years at the Insight Channel, was it 3-4 years? Then when they were feeding me all the celebrities, so I always did end up you always end up at the conclusion, especially someone you grew up with, like, are they the person I hoped and thought they would be, or did they surprise me? And he was just, I think he probably knew that, like a lot of other people, we grew up with you. So if you see someone around a certain age, Jason Bateman, Malcolm Jamal Warner, we think we know you. So you're going to be the guy we hope you are. And he was cool and down to earth, and made me feel, like he knew me. And that was really nice and thoughtful. So
a long time ago, I was doing a show on TV Land, and they had their TV Land Awards. And so I got to do the red carpet, like, announcements.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
But the night before the ceremony, I did like 45 minutes of stand-up for like their ad reps that had all come in for the TV Land Awards. But in the audience, they had a few ringers They had Tom Wopat from Dukes of Hazzard.
Dukes, let me see if I can name him. Yeah.
Adam West.
Batman.
Batman, yes. Marion Ross.
From Happy Days, Mom and Happy Days.
Mrs. Cunningham. Mrs. Cunningham. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Christopher Knight.
Is he a Brady Bunch?
Peter Brady. And of course, Eric Estrada. We're all in the audience.
That was amazing. And you did a 45-minute set for them?
Yeah.
How'd you do?
I did okay, but it was very funny looking in the audience being like, oh, Luke Duke liked that joke. Peter Brady, not so much. Oh, like Mrs. Cunningham laughing at the dirty joke. And then there was a point where Eric Estrada took a picture with my wife, and I was like, oh, let's take a picture where like he's seducing you, like Eric Estrada seducing my wife, and I'm like cucked off to the side. And I'm not lying when I say that Cambry absolutely would have slept with him if he had asked her to. She turned into gelatin. It was just like he got like close to her face, and she just like a puddle formed by her feet. It was disgusting, and I was offended, and we were still trying to work our way through it.
I'm actually, I interviewed him at Sirius, and I too felt the same way that Cambry did.
Yeah, I worked with him on an episode of Are We There Yet? He's a kooky dude.
He's a kooky guy. Yeah, he's a kooky guy. But to be clear, we'll talk to Cambria when someday inevitably we'll lose Eric Estrada, I'm sure, and see how she feels. We'll be thinking of her right away. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I appreciate you answering.
Most expensive lower back tattoo I've ever paid for. Sorry.
All right. I will let you go into your weekend, but I appreciate you spending some time with us. As always, Christian Finnegan. Thank you.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks everybody for watching live. Don't go anywhere. I got to tell you something. Thanks everybody for watching live. And this will post later on today. And I'll say all the things about Christian on the recording. But if you're watching live, you should go see Christian August 9th.
Yes, please.
In Beacon, New York at the Howlin', which is a great venue. And subscribe to his Substack, New Music for Olds. If you're watching live, go do those things.
About to go on an August hiatus, but it will. I'm gonna so I can move. But yes,
any other plugs? Any other plugs before I end the stream?
Plugs? I'm gonna be trying to book some road work and stuff soon, but nothing. Stuff in the kiln, but nothing ready to talk about.
Stuff in the kiln. See him doing pottery.
Yes. I'm starting my own line of pottery.
Thanks, everybody. I'll talk to you later.
Pete and I are gonna do pottery like in the movie Ghost. Like Pete's gonna have his arms around me, like forming.
I thought it was the other way. I thought it'd be the other way around. I thought you'd be the big spoon. But
I probably should be the big spoon. All right.
Whatever you want. All right, we'll do it. Looking forward. Bye, everybody.